Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Simone here, and today we have
AJ.
AJ is my fiance, for anyone who's not seen my channel before. And we have come today, as you can tell from the title, for our monthly movie wrap-up. And we didn't do one in May, so this is actually going to be May and June together. We watched some good movies, didn't we? We also watched some pretty rubbish ones.
Pretty tragic films.
We have decided to change up the format a little bit of this. Well, we're going to just talk about our top three and our bottom three, instead of going all out and kind of, doing all of them, because we've watched a lot of films and it was just, it was a long video last time, wasn't it? So we thought we would just do like I said, top three, bottom three. We haven't actually told each other what our top and bottom is, so we're going to see how that goes. And yeah, let us know what you think of the new format. So do you want to start with your your top one, or you just got top three and got like a specific order?
John Wick, I would say, yeah, probably number one, probably
Okay.
most enjoyable film.
Of the month? Or
Of the
2
month.
months, I should say.
Well, yeah, of that
So
time.
we watched John Wick in May,
Yeah.
actually.
Great,
So-
never seen it before. I'd heard a lot about it, but yeah.
So John Wick basically follows a man who... He was a... Do you want to explain it? I'm not really
He's a contractor, like a contract assassin of some kind, and he gets out of the game, escapes the game, and it just happens to be targeted accidentally by a group of thugs, in essence, that have connection to his old employer, and they do some pretty horrible, nasty things to his family and to his way of life, and they don't quite finish the deed, so he then sets himself to getting his own back.
It's really good, actually. It's one of those films that could have been just like gratuitous violence, but actually wasn't. Like, it was done in a really good way, where every like thing in it made sense that it was there. It was good. I enjoyed that. Yeah. So I did not actually put John Wick in my top three. I will do my top one of mine. Shall I?
Go for it. Yeah.
So my favourite film of the month, or the 2 months, was Ready Player One. Ready Player One really surprised me. I really enjoyed the book, like a few months ago I read it, I think. Or was it last year? I can't remember. Either way, I read it in the last, year or so, and I really enjoyed it. And it surprised me because it wasn't a book that I generally would have enjoyed. It's not my type of thing generally. But I actually found, I think I bought it for you initially and you didn't love the book.
You said I'd like it because of the 80s references, but it's just too heavy.
It's got a lot of 80s references. It is quite a dense book, to be honest. So I think I enjoyed the movie slightly more. But it basically is about a world where there's a thing called the Oasis, and it's basically this virtual reality game where everybody basically goes to school, goes to work, does everything in virtual reality. And it's really well done. Like, it was really interesting. I really loved the way that they created the world, and I loved all of the characters. And I kind of loved the fact that nobody really knew who each other were in the real world. They just knew who each other were in the game. And that was quite fun. I thought it was such a good game. It was a much better film, I think, than it was a book. But I did enjoy the book too, so I would recommend both. But yeah, that one was... I think I gave it like a 4.5 stars, actually. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah. Actually, Ready Player One was the next one I was
Oh,
going to
that's
choose.
cool. So we have a joint one.
I did enjoy it. I felt that it was it was actually oddly nothing like the book, from what I remember.
No, I think there was parts of it that were.
There were parts of it that were,
You
but
only
it didn't
read
seem
part of
to...
the book though, so I think maybe you missed out some of the bits.
Well,
in the book, I mean, that went across.
From what I remember of reading in the book, they didn't seem to do that in the film. And I only read the first 5 chapters, I think. But even then, as a standalone film, it was really enjoyable. I mean, the visual effects were really, really good, and you can see why you'd want to watch it in 3D. And it was...
It wasn't cheesy either, which I feel like it could easily have been.
Yeah, I mean, it had, like, from my perspective, it kind of had like a balance of cheese and a balance of comedy and everything. And it was fine.
Yeah, it was good.
I'd probably watch it again.
Yeah.
It's alright, yeah.
Okay, my next one. Also, I should say we are sat by an open window, so if you can hear, like, traffic outside, it's generally really quiet around here, so for some reason they've decided to come out now, but that's why you can hear it. My next one was actually The Matrix, and I'm quite surprised by this one, actually. I really enjoyed The Matrix. Me and AJ watched this when we first started going out.
9 years ago.
9 years ago. And I couldn't remember anything about it. And then we decided to sit and watch the series through, and we've now I think seen the first two.
Yeah.
We didn't watch the second one in this month, so I'm sure you'll find out about it next month if it makes it to the top or the bottom. But The Matrix for me was a really interesting film. It's definitely of its time. I think it's not necessarily stood the test of time, and I think having rewatched it, it's not like my favourite film of all time, but it was definitely an enjoyable one, and I think it was a good one for the month. It basically follows... Do you want to explain what The Matrix is about?
Right.
I just can say blue and red pills, and that's about as much as I got.
Well, what I'm going to say at this point is that was also my next pick.
Oh, well, there you go. That's cool.
So it's good. We're sort of condensing this now. Right. So The Matrix essentially is about the idea that the world that we're living in is a simulated reality. That
Right.
what we live in is what we are
Being told to see.
being told to see, being told to experience through the concept of the world being a virtual simulation.
It's funny how two of our favourite films have been about virtual reality.
Yeah, in effect. And it deals with a computer hacker who is aware of the possibility that things aren't as they should be, and is looking for what they call the truth of the whole thing, that they're looking for the real. If the perspective of the cameras just changed, it's because we've had a milder earthquake.
Because I knocked something over.
That's, yeah,
Oh,
that too.
well.
Yeah. So he is, by day, he's Mr. Anderson. He works for a very high quality computer company, and he's an intern in effect. And by night he's this super ingenious hacker person who's known all around for his ability to get information from people. He's just a proper hacker in the 90s sense of it. He is hunted out or headhunted by the group in the real world for being the connection that they're looking for, the Messiah. In effect, they believe he will be the one who will be able to sort out the problem that they're experiencing. So, and he does. He gets, not so much that he does, but he gets freed. His mind is freed through some really elaborate stuff, and then the reality that he's faced with blows his mind completely, and he then has to live up to the expectations that are put on him, and so normal person becomes God, in effect.
It's really interesting. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say I would necessarily like to rewatch it again now, having relatively recently seen it. But yeah, I did enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, fantastic. I love it. It's one of my favourite film series of all time.
So The Matrix was your third?
Yeah.
So my third favourite movie of the month was The Silence of the Lambs. So we watched this, again, I don't know if I've ever seen it before. I don't remember anything about it, so I would say maybe not. This is a movie that I've wanted to see for a really long time because I feel like everyone talks about it. Everybody knows about Hannibal Lecter, and I didn't really know anything about it. And if you don't know, The Silence of the Lambs is about a woman named Clarice, who is working as a intern, is it? For the FBI psychology department. And she's basically... Is it FBI?
It's FBI, I believe.
Yeah. And she's basically... she has a job where she has to, interview a serial killer. And the serial killer that they have for her to interview, I think it's so that they can try and find another serial killer or another murderer that's out there at the time.
Yeah.
Is Hannibal Lecter. And Hannibal Lecter is basically a murderer he's a cannibal. Hannibal the Cannibal. He's also a doctor. But yes, and it's really interesting. It's really funny. It's also really gross. There were some really good scenes in it though that surprised me. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a good movie, and I would recommend that you watch it.
I don't think you get away with some of those scenes these days, could you?
No, not so much. It's definitely again, it's an of its time movie. I think it was from 1991, so before I was born. But yeah, really good. It was a good movie, and I'm glad I've watched it now, so I can finally say I've watched it.
Next one, right? You want to do your hated films?
AJ's gonna start.
Least favourite, I'm going to start with a film called Clueless from 1995.
Everybody knows what Clueless is. Clueless is actually a remake or reimagining of Emma, the Jane Austen novel. And I kind of see that, but I also don't, because I really like Emma and I really don't like Clueless.
It's awful.
It's an unpopular opinion. but we rewatched it. Didn't I? Well, I'd seen it before a long time ago, and AJ, it was the first time seeing. Do you want to explain what Clueless was about?
I'm not sure that I can while staying family friendly. It's
okay. Clueless follows a kind of rich girl who, basically, her and her friend, she's like part of the rich club at school, and she wears these weird outfits and stuff, and she's a teenage girl, and she and her friend essentially take on this new girl who joins the school who doesn't have any, you know, fashion sense or anything else, and they kind of help her to be popular, and yeah, things start to fall apart a little bit, and that's kind of what it's about. So that was also one of my least favourite movies of the month, unfortunately. It wasn't great on a rewatch.
not even the first watch.
No, I liked it the first time, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so my second one is 47 Meters Down Uncaged. It was all right, but essentially it's just this group of well-to-do women, women, who all kind of get together and they go sort of jumping into a pool, into a lake of some kind, and it's about this gigantic blind shark that they find in some sort of historical underwater cave, and they... What's the phrase for it? The things where things happen just because they can.
Ex machina.
Ex machina. Things happen. And, you know, it's just so try-hardy as a film. It's so boring. The whole thing is boring and really predictable. And there's a kind of okay scene, bit of a laugh at the end, but it's just one of those things where, it's so lackluster. We watched it and went, next.
It was a middle of the road film for me. It wasn't one of my bottom three because I thought, to me, it was like okay. It wasn't anything super special. It wasn't tragic. Like, it was kind of, middle of the road in my opinion. But I did enjoy some of it. Like, I think it was kind of funny in places, and it was nice to see the relationship between the two sisters. But yeah, there was definitely some parts in it where we were like, what?
Sorry, but deep sea tornado.
Yeah, there was, like I said, there was some really weird stuff happening.
Probably happens, but...
Yeah. So my second, on my least favourite, I guess, of the month, was a movie called I Am Mother. We watched this, we started watching this one ages ago, and then I happened to realise on Netflix that we were partway through it and we needed to finish it off, so we thought we would finish the film. And it basically is about robots. What?
I quite liked this film.
Oh, really? I hated it. Like, I genuinely just wanted it to be over. It basically follows a girl who's been brought up by a robot her whole life, and she then... The world has kind of gone to shit. And basically there's robots everywhere, and this robot is literally bringing up new children. And she's brought up this girl... and she's trying to give her a brother or sister. And it's about this woman who comes in from the outside and kind of like breaks in, I guess. And yeah, I really didn't like this film. It was so boring. Nothing actually happened, and there was literally 2 people in the whole movie, and I just, I wasn't a fan of it, I'm afraid. What did you think of it?
I quite like the visual design of the film, because that for me is the thing that makes me go, ooh, I'll watch that. The plot was perhaps a little bit on the thin side, but it wasn't too bad. I felt it was like, I get it. It seemed to gel quite well and seemed to flow reasonably well from one to the other, but there is a plot twist at the end, and I'm going...
It was ridiculous.
One of the things we go, okay, if you must, I get it, but I'm not really a fan. Yeah. But it was all... I thought it was all right. Bit paced, bit slow in some places, but it made sense to me. So,
okay. What was your other least favourite movie?
So, then my least favourite, probably of all, apart from I.O., which is like the worst film ever known to man, is Outbreak.
Oh, you really didn't like this one?
I really hated Outbreak. Outbreak was just tragic in every single way. It was the cinematography, the acting, the stage direction, the scripting, everything was... pants.
It was from 1995.
Yeah, but even then, like the saving grace of this film that had Morgan Freeman in it.
Yeah. Do you want to explain what it's about? If anyone doesn't know.
Essentially, okay, so Outbreak is, as a clue might suggest, Outbreak is, as the name might suggest, to do with a viral outbreak of some kind. It's transmitted
Ironic
by...
right now.
Just a bit on the nose. So there's this issue with a virus, and they're trying to contain it, and it gets out of control in America, and quite a gruesome scene at the very beginning. So, you know, if you are a bit squeamish...
Watch out for that.
Skip the first 10 minutes. But it's just this whole process of who the people are, how they connect to the situation, how they interact with each other. It all just seems so stitched together. And
I get that, but I
you
think
see the seams.
Yeah, I think for me, the reason I liked it, and I thought it was because it was like from the 90s, and it was definitely like a 90s film. Like it had that sort of like, there's no real special effects as such. Like I think there's something blows up at one point. And it's so bad, like the way that it's done. Like it's really bad, but it's kind of funny to watch because it's so bad. And yeah, there's some pretty big names in it as well.
There are.
So, like Sigourney Weaver and Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah, so it was really good to watch in that way. But yeah, it wasn't like, it's not the best movie ever, but it was definitely fun to watch. And then my other, like my least favourite movie, probably of the month, I think was Tomb Raider. And we watched Tomb Raider. Why don't you look at me like that? You're so shocked. So Tomb Raider, it's the new Tomb Raider, without Angelina Jolie in. And for me, I just did not like it. There was something about it that was just really weird. I think maybe because I have seen the previous, like, Lara Croft's, like, the other Tomb Raiders with Angelina Jolie. As much as I don't really like Angelina Jolie, I actually just found I just didn't like it. And it's not even that it just didn't fit her and it didn't match, it wasn't the same person. I just think for me it was quite, like, slow. And there was lots of things in it where I just didn't think, it was very unrealistic. And it was just ridiculous, like actually ridiculous. The movie was awful. I didn't connect to any of the characters. I think that the side characters in there could have been used so much better, and there was so many of them that just would have made a great movie, and I feel like they were massively underused. And the only thing I would say is I did think the main character, it was really cool that she was like a real person. Like she worked in like a where does she work? In like a Chinese place. She was like a takeaway girl with like a bicycle.
Oh yes, yeah,
stuff.
she was,
like,
wasn't she? Yeah.
And it was nice to see somebody who was genuinely like actually like trying to, like, you know, she was trying to earn money and stuff. Like it was good to see that kind of thing. But generally, yeah, I just think it was a bit wishy-washy. Didn't like it. It was a bit rubbish. Not my favourite. Wouldn't recommend. But there you are, guys. That is the movies that we loved and hated this month. Let us know in the comments down below what your favourite and least favourite movie of the month was, and if you watched any of these, and if you agreed or disagreed with us. And we'll see you next month for another video. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time for another video. Bye, guys!